Dosha Lyfe TV. I just came to drop some more jewels. It's been a little while. But anyway, video I came to talk about today. Why is it so damn hard to wake folks up? It ain't really hard. It's more so a way of doing everything. See, there's a certain thing called universal law. And underneath this universal law, it's how all spiritual law falls into place, regardless of the individual. Universal law is destined by the creator of all everything. You get what I'm saying? So, with that being said, you got universal law, and we got man-made law, and all these other different shit that we like to confuse together. So, when it comes to just bringing the truth to people, you gotta think and keep in mind that there's two different systems in place. Universal law is like the law of attraction and shit like that, you know what I'm saying, how spirit works, you feel me, versus how other individuals believe things work because they believe it to be a certain way. It's only working by way of that universal law, and they don't want to bring those two together. So when a person comes to bring truth to an individual that comes from universal law, and it goes against their own man-made or their own individual shit, and it's tied to some man-made physical shit that they just seem to adopt, then yeah, they're gonna war with it. But this is the reason why it's really harder for a lot of people to bring the truth to people that's really just too dumb, or not too dumb, but too blind to see. I can't say dumb, but it's not them being dumb. It's more of the spiritual powers that govern them, making them dumber to the point of perception and being harder to see in the correct light. So their perception is most likely altered. When you speak in the truth, understand that truth is of a soul realm. See, your soul recognizes truth because truth comes from the soul. So when you speak of the truth of the soul, you speak in the universal truth. This is the truth that no matter what, is always valid. It doesn't change. I cannot sit here and be like the law of attraction don't work for different people. I cannot be like that. If I come and bring the truth to you, or put it like this, what most people feel is the opposition to the truth is the certain spiritual powers, the spiritual forces that govern a certain person or family or bloodline that sends thought forms to these people's minds. So these people that would fuel the ego of these people, you know what I'm saying, and the ego will go against the soul. The ego goes against the truth of the soul. Anyway, stopping my video, people calling. But yeah, ego goes against the truth of the soul. So with that being said, since these said spirits of ego are reliant on the fact that you believe in illusion, they will try to keep your frequency on a low enough level to where all you can see is the illusionary reality and not the truth behind the illusion. And due to that, people will run with the illusion and literally attack you for bringing the truth, which is the keys to the mind, for the mind to be free from said spirit. So, say for instance, if there is a monkey riding this man's back, and I come with something to pry that monkey off the back, the monkey that's benefiting from riding that man's back is going to be pissed off when I bring the key to remove the monkey from said back. You get what I'm saying? It's like that with spirits. So if I come bringing the truth to a sleep individual, the spirit of that sleep individual that's not of their nature, you know what I'm saying, the spirit of that individual will war with me. It will try to war with me, or try to block that person from seeing the truth that can make them free. The truth will set you free, and the knowledge is the power. See, it's deeper than what you think. These spirits move in a morphogenic field of energy. They're tied to these low-level energies that we can consider sins in the Bible. And when I mean sins, like the 7 deadly sins, they're really deities. They're not really sins. They're actual spirits are actual powerful spirits on lower and higher natures. Anything tied to emotion, these are all spirits. These are actual deities. There's a deity of happiness. There's a deity of anger. There's a deity of sadness. These are all spiritual powers that have many different names in different cultures. These deities send thought forms, which is spirits with consciousnesses that's tied to the deity within jurisdiction of that deity's energy. And these thought forms are spiritual things that linger on said matter. They bind the food, people, places, things. It's everything that you see before you. It's everything you see before you is alive. Everything is a spirit. What you're living in is this third dimension, and this divine masculine is where all this spiritual energy is fixed into assimilation of matter. But it's all spirit. It's illusion made out of spiritual energy. So everything has a spirit bound to it. And you can bind certain spiritual things or bind certain spirits to certain things like crystals, like people. People become portals to these things. If I have a certain spirit that governs me, that dictates me what I do, and I'm completely blind to it, and I have sex with somebody, I just pass that spirit. The energy they feel after the sex, whether it be good or bad, it's the energy of the spirits of my nature within them. As men seem to program these spirits and women become the portals of these spirits, that's why it's more beneficial for a woman to be more sexually moral and not immoral and having sex with so many different men thinking that's freedom and liberation, when really all they doing is adding more change to their brain. So he said spirits that would prevent them from seeing truth, and they're programmed mentally. Women, y'all are more programmed mentally, and men are more programmed emotionally. So if your mental messed up, you do not see logic. If your logic's messed up, nothing you're doing is right and you won't see it. Which is, these spirits hate accountability because it makes you look at self and question self. So when it comes to certain people, that's part of the warfare. Ego. So why is it harder to wake people up that's actually, sleeping? It's more so because people don't know how to bypass the spirits that govern said people. Realize that it's not the person that you really, judging. Even in the Bible. See, I'm not religious. I do voodoo like a motherfucker. But when it comes to the Bible, even in the Bible, it say, I don't judge them because they don't know what they're doing. That's what Christ said, right? Christ being synonymous with your third eye, with your all-seeing eye. You don't judge them because they don't know what they're doing, because they're under possession under said deities. Our people suffer for lack of knowledge, ignorance, the act of ignoring truth, lack of knowledge. Our people suffer for that. But the thing is, the spirits is what's keeping them ignorant. And these spirits are not spirits that's tied to their soul's nature or their soul contract. It's just spirits that they consented to by way of portals like Facebook and stuff like that, by way of sex with different people that have certain spiritual powers on them, or by way of the food that they're eating that has, let's be real, blood sacrifice, eating meat. They torture the meat alive to program the spirit of fear, then pump metals into it with other spiritual energies that, in other words, they bind all these different spiritual powers to the food that you eat, and then you eat it and digest it. And then the digestion creates the thought forms out of said energy that you just ate. People don't realize if you want to become something, you eat something with the symbolic characteristic of energy of whatever you want to become. If I want to become more mentally dominant, and there's herbs that represent dominance, I eat said masculine herb. Next thing you know, I'm more mentally dominant because I transfer the thoughts. Now, if I want to move more like a sloth and lazy like a pig, I would eat a pig. Think about that. Question the morality of the animals you eat. It was only blood sacrifice when our ancestors did it. Now we just eating the government's blood sacrifice, and the government wants to control us through low vibration emotion. So that's why they program fear into the blood sacrifice of the food that y'all consider meat in the grocery stores. And people keep eating meat. You wonder why people don't want to get everybody vegan. Shoot, people eating meat, they're constantly feeding the spirits that govern their ego, which wars with the soul. So whenever we speak anything of health, they want to sit there and combat it. They attack us. They attack the truthers. Why is the truth becoming more and more less dominant? It's because the lie is becoming more and more prominent to the egotistical beings in this realm. If somebody is living a lie, the truth will offend them because the spirits that's governing their lie are threatened to being removed from the vessel by way of truth. Gatekeepers are considered to have the keys to unlock the mind. As I walk through this graveyard, I pay homage to my spirits. I pay homage to all of them. They're not all my spirits, but you know what I mean. I pay respect. But yeah, like, it's levels to this. When you're speaking to people the truth, when you're speaking the truth to people, and I mean truth from the soul, you're not speaking to the individual per se, as in the whole, as a whole. You're speaking to the soul of that individual to give that soul the strength to free itself. And by doing that, it makes you a threat to that spirit, and that spirit will want to lash out at you, so it will pull on the emotional strings to channel the deities, that, like the deity of anger, or any of these things, because through emotion, we channel deities. So it would do that, make you channel a deity to attack the person bringing the truth. And then you'll realize it's ego after the fact. So when you do something that you know that's not your nature and you do it anyway, your mind is in a sunken place while you do the shit. If I'm possessed by the spirit of anger and do something out of anger, that wasn't me that done it. That was the spirit of anger that possessed me. So if I do something or someone does something out of anger to me, I honestly could not judge. They was possessed. That wasn't them that moved. That's why in the Bible, when they talk about Jesus, he say, forgive them for they know not what they do. It's that deep. We got to learn to be more conscious and less judgmental. But we also got to not let people push us in a box by claiming everything we do by recognizing the truth is being judgmental. What they do now, like say for instance, I don't judge anyone. I don't have a problem with a person's lifestyle, what they do. I have a problem with agendas to force a lifestyle on the individual, especially if it's a lifestyle that's destructive. So when it comes to things like, let's be real, that trends, I don't even want to say the word because it could get demonetized. But you know what I'm saying, when it comes to these people, this alphabet culture, stuff like that, I don't judge them. Everybody deserves, it's their right to do what they want to do. But if I could see the spirits and I could see it's the spirit of ego, and if it's a sexual lust-based spirit that sends that ego, in other words, it's one of them deities of a low vibration of lust that manifests their ego by way of the trauma that person suffered to make them in that way, I'm gonna call it out as I see it. That's not me being judgmental, that's calling a spade a spade. Now, if saying the truth is considered judgmental or phobic in some type of way, to that individual, it's their defense mechanism to defend their ego for living the illusion of a life that they live. Realize that when a little kid is acting like Spider-Man, we don't sit there and tell him he's not Spider-Man for the fact that we don't want to hurt the little kid's ego and want him to be creative. So now we're in a time and age where adults are acting like little kids. Now we got to sit there and abide by these grown people, grown folks, living a lie that's not them. And we could say the biological, logical truth, and it'd be considered hate speech. Why? It's a war on logic. It's not really a war on people for real. It's a war on logic, because if your logic is gone, you have no willpower. If your willpower is gone, you can be controlled, manipulated with illusion. Logic is also an enemy of illusion. Emotion is what binds you to your logic, but emotion can bind you to any logic. That's why they play on our women. They know y'all can be mentally programmed, so they use this to mentally program y'all. When they look at every movement there is right now, Black Lives Matter, LGBT, all these different groups, guess who's the forefront? The ones that's standing on the line pushing for them, the women. Why? Because they're emotionally tied. They use things to program your emotions to certain things. Shoot, Black Lives Matter is owned by a white dude that's pushing them for the Bidens. We ain't even black. That means bland and blonde and turn pale. You know what I'm saying? But they tricked us through language. They tricked us to language to speak curses on ourselves, and that's why we confuse in religion and in court. So it's levels to this shit. There's a social way we use words, and then there's the actual definition of the said words that we use socially. And don't realize we're using words with alternate meanings as an everyday reality of conversation. And then when we actually read shit that goes back to the real meaning of said words, we're confused and read it in a sense to where the perception is contradictory to the truth, or the perception is in reverse. I could say I'm of everything dark and evil, but if dark means the realm of the soul and evil means love, think about that. They make you curse that in the Bible because you don't know what words mean. The English language is to curse. The Bible is actually truth. People can say this and that. The truth is there. The curse is in the language. This is why the English language is the cursed language. If you want to learn the truth about your own religion, learn your religion in another language. You see some shit you ain't know. And they're connected to every religion there is. People go on to war for the same gods in different translation. Like the word God ain't an English word. Like that's the only way you could say that. So that's why we got us looking at other people that practice the same shit under a different name like they're evil. And it's ego. How you want the outside world to see you. You want to be seen as this image, which is better than that image. So you'll curse that image if that image comes with something that's more truthful than what you believe and stand on. So a lot of people got to come to the point of unlearning false truths. It's levels to this, man, but I ain't gonna hold y'all up, man. Dosha Lyfe TV. You know, like, subscribe, hit the cash out. You know what I'm saying? Fuck with me.